afternoon. You're very much welcome to the Innovate Kenya Summit 2025. And in this particular session, we'll be looking at tech for jobs. So how we creating opportunities and how we using technology to create economic opportunities and also to create job opportunities for the general population, but again, we'll also be seeing, we'll also be quite focusing on youth. And therefore, this session will be a three-part session this afternoon, and we'll be starting off with a keynote speech, keynote address from our very own Mary, and who will come and explain to us a little bit more about our organization, and then also make the keynote. And then from there, we'll jump in straight to pretty much a demo of our solution with one and our very own Joshua. And then now we'll jump finally to our panel session. So without further ado, I would like to take this opportunity and welcome Mary. Please take the stage and take us away. Karibu sana.
I'm Mary Kerema. I'm the Secretary in charge of e-government and digital economy in the Ministry of IC and Digital Economy. Of course, we are here to discuss a very pertinent issue that is ailing this country, and it's about creation of jobs. And with technology here with us, moving very fast, then I think we really need to leverage on technology to bridge this gap of a lack of jobs. So today, I think I'll take you through a few slides, of course, on the topic of how we can leverage technology for job creation and economic growth initiatives. So the first thing we need to ask ourselves, what are these innovative strategies for our workforce in the issue of development through technology? So one is about empowering individuals in the tech-driven job opportunities, and the key strategies are: one, unlocking the potential through technology initiatives, and this is by integrating training programs to the current workforce that we have. That most people in the workforce were employed a long time ago, and things have changed. But we keep doing the same thing the same way, and we would expect to be competitive. That cannot work. So therefore, we really need to unlock the potential that technology brings to us so that we can be able to improve our workforce. There are issues of reskilling and retooling our workforce so that we can match the future job demands. We need to promote digital literacy to enhance job readiness. I know, even to date, if you do a survey across our universities, I believe they still teach the traditional way. Now, I was in university a long time ago, I'm not young. So, when I left campus and I was employed in government, I could not fit in. I couldn't just fit in. Because what I learned in school, in college, I can't use it anywhere in the employment I was given. So what did I need to do? Is to go and retool myself and reskill myself to fit into what was expected of me. So therefore, we really need to look at our curriculums so that we can be able to match up with what is required in government. You need to transition, You need to keep clicking. Then lastly, it's about connecting talent to tech-driven economic opportunities. We have a gap where, yes, there are young people who have really taken up the digital skilling, but they have nowhere to go. we are not able to match their skills to jobs available. So these are how we can empower our individuals and avail the job opportunities that are out there. The second part is about innovation, innovating tech solutions for the workforce engagement. And this is by creating adaptable work environments through technology. It's about, I will not emphasize too much. You'll get my presentation, and I think in the panel discussion, we'll dive deeper into this. Leveraging digital tools for team collaboration. And this is about using advanced digital tools which enhance more team collaboration, engagement, and even driving project success. Because the moment you share ideas and you're able to collaborate, then you are able to grow your innovations. Then it's about fostering a culture of continuous learning. Because you cannot learn today and say you are up to the standard, because technology is evolving so fast. What you do today, it will change in 2 days or in 1 month. So therefore, we need to foster a culture of continuous learning. The third is about transforming skills training through digital technologies. One is by adapting e-learning platforms for scalable training solutions. In this generation, if we retain teaching in classroom or in hubs, then we are missing out a greater population. So therefore, we need to bring in, we need to adapt other platforms for learning, for example, the e-learning platforms. We need to utilize the virtual and augmented reality technologies which can transform the traditional training methods. We need to we have collaborative online learning communities for skill development. So we need to have online communities that we can collaborate and we can have peer learning. And I was encouraged, I went to Kisumu, and there is a business process outsourcing company that has set up. It is based on software development. And nobody, no teacher is standing before them to teach them. It is peer learning. So they learn how to develop software through peer learning. So we need to have such initiatives. And lastly, it's about employing analytics to guide training strategies. Sometimes we continue doing the same thing, the same way. And yet, there are better ways we can do it. So therefore, we need to have proper monitoring and evaluation and use data to really give us data that we can use for decision making. The second one is transforming job markets with digital advancement and new opportunities. Number one is about digital advancements, which are reshaping employment landscape. And this we can do through innovative technology fostering for new job opportunities. The other is tech initiative by enhancing workforce skills and access. I've already talked about that. It is about people-centric approaches in tech-driven job creation, because we need to bring in solutions that really meet individual requirements, not putting in things that cannot really serve any individual or any community. And lastly, it's about technology, using of technology that is transforming the traditional job markets. And so therefore, there is a shift to a digital economy vis-a-vis the traditional employment. So we need to tap into these available opportunities to make sure we can create jobs for our youth. The second one is about creating sustainable jobs through innovative tech solutions. And this is to have a sustainable tech-driven long-term job creation. We need to plan for innovative solutions that will foster sustainable job markets. The other is about people engaged in sustainable technology initiatives by engaging communities in tech initiatives to ensure job creation aligns with the local needs and promotes economic stability. The other one is the intersection of sustainability and workforce development, where we want technology to involve crucial job creation efforts and consider sustainability by ensuring economic growth does not compromise the environmental health. So therefore, as we go digital, we need to ensure that the environmental health is sustained. The third one is about tech-driven transformation in job creation, where we want to support the gig economy and remote work. By ensuring affordable connectivity infrastructure is in place, we cannot talk about digital jobs and people are not connected. So we have to connect people as the first priority so that they can participate in the digital economy. And I think government is doing a lot around this. We want also to ensure the digital hubs that have been put in place by several initiatives. How can we maximize the usage of these digital hubs to create jobs? Also to avail space for digital skilling. It's about industry digitization, where we are promoting that various sectors need to digitize or automate their services to ensure that we can tap into the availability of digital jobs. Because if you want people to work digitally, then you need to move into that ecosystem so that they are able to tap into that. And just to name one that is really a viable sector is trade through e-commerce. Because this is a chain that can create a lot of digital jobs. Also on industry digitization, government is also looking at how can we attract BPOs to set place in this country, and how can we avail or give incentives to these BPOs. Once they come and set here, can we be able to give them a conducive environment for them to give us the jobs that we require? Of course, partnering with academia cannot be re-emphasized. We're already having conversations that they need to inculcate digital skilling in their curriculum. And even so much of that, we're encouraging them to set hubs within their universities, so that instead of students going out there to look for internships, they can do internships in real digital jobs, so that once they finish, then they can join the jobs. The third is empowering individuals via tech-driven economic solutions and initiatives. And one is to enhance tech to bolster community employment, is by fostering collaborative tech-driven job initiatives, and getting individuals in tech skills training and programs. And lastly is to innovate tech solutions for the workforce development. The second is enhancing economic prospects through technology solutions, and this is by employment of growth through tech investment strategies. It's about empowering the local economies with tech solutions, and lastly, it's by connecting talent with opportunities in the tech sector. Because if we lose this linkage, then we are not going to really answer the question of lack of jobs in this country. The third is utilizing technology for, of course, the individual economic empowerment. One is by leveraging the digital tools for personal career growth. Yes, we are training youths on digital skills. Have we equipped them with the tools that even as they go out there, you can imagine you've trained a youth and when they go out there, they have no laptop. Without a device, they cannot thrive in the digital economy. So therefore, we need to find a way of making sure that we can avail the digital tools so that they can also grow in their career. We need to have tech-driven pathways for economic independence. We need to support job seekers with technology-enhanced solutions. So therefore, these things, we cannot do them alone. We need to partner, we need to collaborate with all the stakeholders to ensure that we can beat this challenge of job creation. Lastly, it's about enabling access to tech resources for economic stability. The last part I want to handle is about enhancing technology for entrepreneurial growth and community development. One of it is about transforming local economies through tech startups. This country will only grow if we put emphasis on startups and innovations. And this can only be supported also if we put more emphasis on research and development. Look at any country that has developed. They have put a lot of money on research and development, support of the startups. So therefore, we want to say that one key thing for us to grow digitally as a country driven by digital economy is that we need to foster an environment for startups. Number 2 is about cultivating a culture of innovation in communities. The third is leveraging technology for workforce development programs. So we need to make sure that we can bridge the skills gap in the employees that we have already. It's about inspiring a future where entrepreneurs can be able to grow in the tech education. The other one is about the digital jobs and economic opportunities. We want to leverage on remote work. By promoting this, we'll be able to avail different and various collaborative tools so that every individual, despite their geographical location, they can still access these opportunities. It's still about digital skills development, which I've already emphasized, and we need to restructure our curriculums so that we can ensure that we incorporate issues to do with coding, data analytics, digital markets, AI, modeling, all these technologies. We need to build a culture. In fact, somebody was saying, even to create a science-oriented mind, we need to start even from primary school, where we can teach our children how to even build a robot. You know, all of us are parents, and we keep running into shops to buy what? Toys, isn't it? When we can buy those small tools and train our children how to develop or create those robots themselves. And this will create a mind that is scientifically oriented. By the time they reach university, they will already be developers, manufacturers. They can do, they can manufacture chips and everything. And it's only through that we can really perform well. The other is about e-commerce platforms, which I've already said that this will create an ecosystem. From the marketing, that is a digital job. From logistics to delivery to even doing now the feedback and even return in case there is a problem. Those are all jobs that can be created by our e-commerce platform. Freelancing platforms, we need to leverage on this, and there are many examples about that. We need to foster our startups and entrepreneurs, as I've said. We need to create environment for mentorships. We need to create funding resources. In fact, the CS the other day was saying, government is not in business of setting up digital hubs. The ones we have set up are enough. So what we need to move into funding these young people who have been trained, give them a fund, not really money, but tell them, I'm setting up for you a hub of, I'll give you 20 computers for you to start doing digital jobs. So that way then we will grow the digital hubs in big numbers. Of course, leveraging on emerging technology, especially the current movement about artificial intelligence. This should really, and people are fearing artificial intelligence. And I keep telling them, we should change the A and say, it's not artificial, but it is amplifying your intelligence. What you used to do in 10 days, you can do it in minutes or hours. So therefore, let's embrace these emerging technologies to make sure that we can really create jobs. Lastly, I think it's about building the entrepreneurial ecosystem is by creating supportive networks for tech entrepreneurs. Can we be able to bring the industry players, merge them with the entrepreneurs for them to grow their products? It's about connecting talent to opportunities in the tech sector. So I want to stop there. Too much, I've talked a lot, but I hope it has given us a level where we can now engage and discuss further on how can we create digital jobs in our country so that we can make sure our youths don't go rioting in the streets, but they'll be busy working online wherever they are. Thank you very much.
I can't remember the last time I had such a crash course on tech and job opportunities and economic opportunities. It felt like a whole semester in less than 20 minutes. So we really appreciate Mary for the great insights. And I think we'll now also see this practically during our panel, where each and every industry player here will be sharing what are some of the ways and some of the pointers that you have shared with us during the keynote on how they're applying this in their areas of operation. Maybe just also give some context, especially for the ones who have just joined us in right now, is that in this session of Tech for Jobs, where we're creating job opportunities and economic opportunities for our youth, or rather using technology, because again, it's not just for the young people, but anyone who basically can have access to technology, is that we know, and especially like from COVID-19, I remember when COVID happened, I was still a farmer. I had not yet been able to buy a suit so that I can come to work in the white-collar job. By that time, I saw the value of being connected and having digital skills, because that is when I could sell my produce using the WhatsApp, because I would put them on my status and I would get market opportunities from that. And that was also a time when I had so many people starting their PhDs, where they were also learning virtually, because again, they couldn't go to school physically. So there's so much that happened during that time that gave us almost like a push that got more people connected and even acquiring digital skills. And with that opportunity then came also, or rather with that pandemic came opportunities where now these people are now applying some of these skills that were learned. And there are quite a number of countries that have been able to apply these kind of digital skills in either creating jobs or even applying those skills in the jobs that are needed in gig economy and even in that industry digitization, which we'll also be hearing more about that. So without further ado, I would now like to welcome Joshua just to come and showcase to us a platform that we will be able to see how technology again is being utilized to create economic opportunities because of the use of technology. So Joshua, we're good? All right. So Joshua will be starting off with a quick presentation, and then we'll now jump into our panel session. So a round of applause for Joshua.
All right. So name of the company, we call it Japan. Of course, people who hear about it think of the Japan word. You guys know what it means. It means to sort of plan yourself out. And there's a little story you can give about why a guy like you doesn't seem very stylish ended up starting a business that seems to do with being a Japan type of thing. And we can go to the next slide, right? So at some point, we're working in tech in a job sort of sector. I was in a company called Indiana, and we were trying to make sure that we can connect talent with businesses that needed the talent. And I think even after that stint, when I worked with another company called Soko, which worked with a lot of BOP, which is bottom of the pyramid people, that was when we started really realizing that a lot of the solutions we built are built for the top 10% of the market. And 90% of the market for people that work in the informal sector. So it started, resonating with us like, yo, what are we doing about this? We worked in tech, we're not doing a lot. And when the pandemic hit, that's when it really struck home just how stranded that sector was, because people don't have anything to do. The one thing that happened was, because at the time I would go to Kibera, to places, towards some parts of Rongai, some parts of Guru, and as we're working with different people, you realize that, hey, when the market stalls, these people have nothing, and it's just stuck, and the rest of the people in formal jobs sort of have a bit of, all your employees going to send you something. The two things that stood out was how gig economy platforms, the two of note that were there, began to become a salient to a lot of things. And the two that everybody knows about, Uber and Upwork, right? Quite a lot of people who found themselves jobless at that time ended up gravitating to that. And as we started talking to people about that, one of the things we started asking ourselves was, hey, a gig job is any job that has a start and end that is predictable. Like a taxi driver takes you from one place to the other, that's a small gig. And the informal sector is exactly that. So 90% of people work in the informal sector, which is gig, could platforming that through this gig tech do something. And I think as we started doing research, we realized that there was a chance, and this was actually beginning to take root in places like Europe, in places like South America, and we wanted to see what happened in Kenya. And of course, the more we did our research, the more the research told us, well, the vertical-based approach is the best. You can't just start with one solution meets all, because you need to have the necessary depth to be able to make it sticky. But the second thing was, some industries are more ready for digital intervention than others. And the most ready industry was personal care. Why? Because I guess as the world evolves, people are very more concerned about their personal brands, how they look, how they dress, and because of that, they're already starting to use these tools. So we went into the market, we talked through with a lot of people, and we realized, yes, there was something here. And so that is how we ended up saying, hey, who are the people we need to build for? These three people. The professional being the key person, because when you're a professional in this informal sector, it's really crazy, and how hard it is for them to, one, access work, to prove their skill set, and then keep clients over time. If you meet a hairdresser tomorrow, and you ask them, how long have you done that? They can tell you 7 years, 10 years. How do you prove that? You can't. You just have to go with it. But if I ask you where do you work, the first thing I'll ask you is, what's your LinkedIn? And from LinkedIn, I'll get your history, and you sort of assort it. And these guys, they just have this thing of, you don't know, even if you told him he's worked for 10 years, what if he was doing one haircut per month for the last 10 years, right? Like, is that experience? Are you going to base it on time, or are you going to base it on actual work done? And you start realizing that the data is going to be very important for this type of sector. And so that's why we started looking at it. And then the next thing we asked was, who's the person in control here? Well, it's a professional. The business owner wants professionals who are good enough to attract customers. And when the professional moves locations, very often, the customers move with him, right? Now, we try to ask customers, why do you guys move? Because if you guys always follow this person, and we realize, well, it's because for the customer, the process of getting this individual, of basically saying, the process of me understanding that somebody is good enough, I'll follow them. But it's very similar to how it was pre-Uber. Your mother had a taxi driver that all of you used and called because that was the guy that you all trusted, right? But the moment that platforms come, and it's very easy to know how people are, to be able to trust them, then everybody just jumps into an Uber and keeps it moving, right? because convenience and quality is the thing that we care about the most. And we started realizing that it was. And so what we were building here was a platform that not only asked customers, hey, can I get you what you need? If you're trying to get, for example, as in jumbo braids, and you're just going to look for somebody who says I'm a hairdresser, if you want to know, I'd like to know whether you've actually done jumbo braids before, how many times have you done it before I even know what your price is. Or if you wanted to get your haircut or dreadlocks done, do you want to know whether the person has, or you are an experiment? Very many of us have gone to people who we've been experiments and we've learned our lesson from being that experiment. That's why people are bold enough to sometimes even stop people on the street and say, hey, who did your hair? Tell me where they are. And so that you can know who it is. And we started realizing that because of this, the market is extremely fragmented and there's a lot of middlemen. Actually, it was really bad because if you're talking about some of these things, you find that in places in the sector, getting access to jobs, it's not a meritocracy. You know, somebody who's going to say, I know business owners who are looking for work, right? And I'll be able to get you that work, but you need to do a few some things for me. For young women, it's not the best thing. Many of them are telling us how that works. And even for men, it's quite crazy. And so we said, what about platforms? How easy is it that when somebody decides I want to be a Uber driver today, within 24 hours they could be working? What if you could do that? Because we also were talking to business owners who are telling us it's very hard to find the right talent to do what you're doing. And then we looked at the numbers. What are the numbers looking like? Well, when we started talking to colleges, we realized that the top 12 colleges in the last 10 years have trained about 500,000 people. And how many people actively work in the sector? The high estimates from the government is, well, if you really stretch it, it's maybe 100,000. So even the good estimates is 20% of people who have trained the last 10 years or so. Only 20% are working because it's difficult. But it's a country of 55 million people. Even if half of those people were supposed to get work, you would have to say, hey, 25 million people try to get their hair done somehow. There should be 250 million people per person, right? That's not how it works. And so the question is, so how is it so hard to get things done in an economy where people's personal expenditure on their brand, because people care about their personal brand, is growing? Is it because of social media, where people see social media, the best marketer, it's not the best skill? And so that's why we developed Trump. And the B2B is a bit more advanced because there are more mature businesses that are saying, hey, we have branches, and I'd like to be able to control how many branches are. I'd like to be able to see how all my staff work. I want to be able to see their jobs immediately they're doing it. Instead of me going to manage each business, I can log in, see who's working, see who's the best person to get reports, and doing all that type of stuff. And then the last thing is an integration hub. Now, why do we do this thing? Because our model is that every sector is an ecosystem. And the big difference for us is we didn't want to build maybe, I would say, a pure Uber model where you control everything and then you build. What we wanted to do was say, we'll build an ecosystem where we allow people within the ecosystem to operate just as they would outside. So for example, if you were a business owner and you hired the gentleman at the back, you'd be able to hire him. He does his jobs. He's getting everything that he could do. But the moment that either of you decides to part ways, he keeps all the experience that he brought with you, all the portfolio, because he can put pictures and everything. And when he goes to work for somebody else, that person can see, oh, I can see where you worked. I can see how many jobs you did. I can see this, and that. And it's very simple for you to keep moving. So this is why we built it this way. And we have plans to keep building, but last year was our first year in the market. The first half we tried our B2C, which was very Android heavy. We only got iOS approved in December, so that is the first time we were able to actually start going to talk to, I would say, larger businesses who say, 60% of my clients use iPhone, so I can only use things that have or an iPhone, but Apple have a bit of a longer sort of model. So that is why it has taken us a bit of time. But what was good for us was we launched in areas like Manyanja, which is somewhere in Kairoki. And we started realizing, hey, would this product work here? Because if it doesn't pass the test here, we're not going to pass the test. And so we ended up having to start learning what happens here. So you go to a place like Coyote, the people latch onto what you have. They like it. But the clients have very different usage. So what are the clients doing? The clients will download our app, book with their personal provider, and then when they get finished, within a week, they've deleted the app. And then when they're going to the shop again and the person says, hey, book me through the app, they'll download it on the day of going to the salon to make the booking and going and you're asking, why are you guys doing this? Like, it doesn't make sense. You're trying to make the app very, very light. But it's because their phones don't have that much memory, so you're competing for real estate with other apps, right? So when they're competing for real estate, you versus a picture, you're going to get deleted, right? And they'll download you when they want to use you. Same thing with different people, like some professionals who use us, and at some point they started telling us, oh, it's a little bit expensive. I used to use the 1 gig plan with Safaricom. Now with the app, I'm using 1.5 gig. So this thing is costing me 0.5 gig per day. It's a bit expensive. And so one of the projects that we actually started working on last month is one app that nobody deletes. What app is that? WhatsApp. Nobody ever deletes WhatsApp, right? And WhatsApp Business is brilliant because it allows you to do all the functions that you could do on the phone, on the app rather, just as if you're using a USSD thing. So for the customer, it would be as easy as saying something like, just go to, where's the Chipamba guy, and say hi, and we know who exactly it is, and we say, oh, what are you trying to do? I want to make a booking for this person. We'll show you who your favorites are, you decide to make a booking, and it's working as if you're an app. So that's really in testing at the moment with what we're doing with our team right now, but that's one of the things that we realized we want to do. On the B2B front though, which is what has been interesting, that is where it's very interesting because we're now talking to owners who are saying, hey look, we have 4 locations and we employ 20 plus people per location, but I have to have an operations manager, I have to have this, I have to have that, because controlling all of these things is massive. And actually, the most interesting thing is when you talk to some owners, they walk around with 4 or 5 phones, just trying to control this sort of businesses. And it's really interesting. And with our app, it's as good as saying, hey, I can log in, see all my businesses, and do it. And so the B2B is supposed to give that sort of experience to the business owners. And then, because I had Ramon talking about jobs, which is one of the key things that we wanted to do, just to give you some of our forward-looking things. So one of the things that happens is, for every professional as you are, every time you do a job, we count it as an experience point, right? So you have one experience, we know what you're doing, etc., etc. And we keep track. Oh, that job was in dreadlocks. This one was in braids. This one was a haircut. So what we are now moving towards doing is creating a part of the app that allows owners to very quickly say, I'm looking to hire talent. So the owner can be very specific to say, I want to hire somebody who has dreadlock skills. And I want them to have at least 4 out of 5 stars in terms of ratings, right? Now, if I want to do that, then we would just very quickly be able to trim and say, well, there are 10 people, or there are 20 people, or there are 30 people in this area who meet what you're looking for. Do you want us to send the alert to them? And you say yes, the alert goes to all of them. They're told there's somebody who's looking for something with your profile. Are you interested? If you click yes, they get to see your CV, and they can call you for an interview. And what you're trying to do with that is weed out middlemen who make it very difficult. And the job, and when the person sees your profile, they can see your portfolio, they can see what you've done, they can see all those type of things. And so that's what we've been building. We believe that this sort of like platform would work well across many verticals, but just our experience with just talking to the people and dealing with it within the vertical is that the level of depth that you will need to be able to have people find you sticky is quite vast. So having a sort of angel list type of solution that says one solution that fits all is probably not going to work at all for you. And so what we're doing is that. So that is a quick briefing. We've got three, so the app is three things. We've got a customer one that allows customers to look at it. We've got a professional one that allows professionals to sort of look for what they're doing. And then we have a business app that allows owners to do their thing. So Victor told me I should try and show some of what we're doing. I told him it's fine, but I can't use the live app because I would have to be booking somebody's business. So we have a dev app situation that I was talking to my devs and saying, hey, can you set it up so I can show people what we're doing? So we've been doing some hand coding between yesterday and today to make sure we can do it. So I was talking to my guy, I'll just try and do a quick demo. Let me try and cast. Good. Good. And so we have the Jipanda and the Jipanda Pro app. And so for the customer, it's a very simple thing. They log in, they can see a business, they go through the business, they can see, okay, what does this business offer? I think it doesn't fail me. They can see whatever the business is offering, the prices, they can decide to book or not. If they book, if the booking is going to crash this, last time I tried to do it, I didn't sign in. So it's going to force me to sign in. Sorry guys. So let's do that again. So it will find a business, you'll be able to see what that business offers. So this is basically, you only see what that business offers. If the business does not have a professional who offers a specific service, the service will not show. So all these services are linked to a specific person who does that service. So anytime you wanted to see something, you're able to see the price, you're able to then move to the calendar, etc. If you've got appointments that are coming up, you'll be able to see if you've got any appointments coming up. If you tell me you've got something on the 14th, on Friday, you can look at it and see exactly what the appointment is. I can see it's with Moana at King's Brothers. It's nail repair, it's 500 shillings. Forget the prices. If I wanted to see if I've got anything ongoing, it's more or less if I was at the shop, I can actually see whatever is happening at the shop. It will allow me to see different things, and if I like somebody, it allows me to actually put my preferences in. So if I've got any notes that I want anyone I book with to know about me so that they don't, anytime I book, it will send this to whoever I booked with and tell them, this is Joshua's personal preferences, this is his hair type, his skin type, which you can change at any given time, because we've done a bit of sort of like stuff so that you can actually be helped with understanding things. So if you don't know, the professionals can tell you, hey, this is your hair type. Save it so that people know exactly what they're dealing with anytime you come, and anytime you have a favorite or somebody you find, then you can say either a professional or a shop or something like that, so that it's easy to find. So the customer app is easy for the customer to just see. We'll keep enhancing that. The professional app is a little bit different. We have ways for the professional to see, okay, I have an active service going on right now. So, for example, if he was dealing with Joshua right now, you can see, okay, Joshua has been doing, when he decides to end the session will bring up an invoice, which basically is one of the more important things for them, because the professionals will now say, I want to send a bill to my client. Send the bill to the client, they can edit it if they want. But it basically saves an invoice for the professional. And one of the things that it's doing that is not possible, it's also keeping a record of what the professional earns. Why is that important? Because one of the main reasons why some sectors don't deal with the informal sector at all is because it's very difficult for them to, like, why would I, as talent, give you as a barber a loan? I don't know what your earnings are. When you're employed, your employer tells me how much you make, so it's easy for me to deal with you. Now with this, keeping tabs on how much you earn, how much you do things, you're beginning to get data that's being compiled that allows people to see more of you, and you can very easily see what the person does. The person can manage their revenue. Then they can actually upload photos to that job, and those photos are then able to be seen on the customer end. Now all the photos will be sent to the customers first for approval, so the customer has to approve. If the customer isn't approved, it will say it's not verified, so it will not go anywhere. And when the customer approves the thing, it will be there. And we were just uploading photos yesterday to make it interesting for you guys. And then the owner, I can maybe try to show you the owner's perspective very quickly and then I'll wrap up. The owner kind of gets a bit of a wider perspective because his job is to see what different people are doing. So the owner here will be able to see some data graphs which we don't have only because we just put a few things today. You can be able to see what your professionals are, what their calendars are, based on what they're doing. The owner can also see who is, if there's anybody working at the moment, and if there are people who have any invoices that have been sent, they'll be able to see them. They'll be able to see who their staff are. There's a way that the owner can look at different people and say, okay, this is a professional, this is a manager. They can see what every staff person does. They can look at the terms for each person, edit them if they needed to see, okay, this person, how much do I pay them? Do I want to give them a raise or not? I pay this person 25,000 shillings. So it's also starting to qualify a lot of things where people say, hey, I got a contract there, but they claimed me and stuff like that. So there's a lot to the app, and I know we are limited time, so I won't show you everything. But this is what we've been working on. Actually, we've been, I think when we launched, we got a few hundred people signed up immediately. And now the B2B just being completed last month. We're in the process of onboarding a couple of more interesting stores. So hopefully soon you'll hear more about this. But one of the things that we are very excited about is that when you have platforms like this that give people the chance to build careers and not just say, hey, there's an app that serves those kind of people, but this is an app that maybe one day there will be a guy who says, if you want to see what I do, go to that app, look at my profile, you'll see all my jobs, you'll see my portfolio, and they can actually start getting offers from Kisumu, Mombasa, Tanzania, wherever. That is our vision, like getting platforms to work for those kind of people. So thanks. That's all I have for you guys today. I appreciate for you guys being with me. Thanks.
Yes. So, I mean, Joshua, I can't wait. Probably my barber, and I've been with this barber for the last 10 years, if not. Everywhere he goes, I follow him. So every other month he will hear, I've left this building, I've gone to this other building, and I think that applies to even the ladies in the room. So I hope you'll soon be clients of Jipambe, really Jipambe. All right, so I will now want us to transition very quickly into our panel session, which is the last part of our afternoon. And I think we are full house, so I'll add 2 more seats here. And I'll be calling our panelists so that we can have this conversation, the long-awaited conversation. So I think I will have another panelist here. I think that should work. All right. And I'll start from that end. Introduce yourself, your organization. Spend some 2 minutes just to let us know about you, and we'll go on. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Hello, everyone. My name is James Reed Mwini, and I am a co-founder of Zynomis Limited with 2 great founders, Tracy Mwangi and Chris Kiwaza. And we are a software development firm. We build solutions for clients, corporates, individuals, mobile apps, and also do help organizations that, for example, want to move their businesses to the cloud, to different cloud providers, AWS, Amazon, Google, to be able to do that. We also do a number of interesting projects. So we build solutions for clients, but then we also build our own solutions. And I always like to say that we build solutions that are everyday solutions but we do it from the background. I don't know who here has used the SGR channel. So if you've used the SGR e-tickets platform, we did that with one of our clients and partners called Bupas. Also different type of solutions. So like I mentioned, corporate solutions, government solutions as well, built for events platform being used by the Revolution Conference. with our general committee of the different county governors for 2023, but hopefully Homa Bay 2025 as well. So we build solutions for different kind of levels of clients, corporate as well as SMEs, small solutions as well, like gig. I love movies. If you love movies, I love movies. If you've been to IMAX, then budget tickets online. That's one of the solutions we built as well. Other than that, I am a farmer as well. In Kulima, napenda sana kulima. I farm traditional kienyeji, managu terere. That's what I like, farming, and I like using the knowledge that I've built in tech to bring into my agriculture. So I am doing a lot of agri-tech as well in different projects. One of them is 1 million avocados, where we are helping farmers plant 1 million avocados across Kenya and Africa. And on top of that, using technology to help them with traceability and also help them tokenize their farm assets into digital assets on the blockchain. So I bring the knowledge I learn on this side to the shamba as well. So it's Java hivi, utanipata kwa shamba na overall. Very nice to meet all of you. Thank you so much.
So before you give to Remis, yeah, you can give him a round of applause. 2 questions. The first one, which is your favorite movie, and I think even as we go around, just give us a quick fun fact. I mean, when he says, when we see him here, the way he's dressed and the farm will be different. When I used to be a farmer, that used to be my dress code until I was converted to this other side. So I'll be very interested also to see how you look on the other side of the farm with the terrarias. So, favorite movie?
I think I'm a huge fan of Christopher Nolan. So he has a movie called Inception. That's my favorite movie. I think I've watched that like 20 times. Another great movie just to mention, because it inspired one aspect of our business, which Madam Mary pointed to it, where she talked about a lot of the times when people leave campus, there's what you're taught in campus, and you come to the job market and you realize it's very different. Like what you learn in class versus what you're being asked in the interview, 2 completely different worlds. And when we saw that, we were like, since you're in a tech firm, why don't we create an apprenticeship program to actually help do upskilling and training for people who are come straight from the job market to look into transition to the job market, or if they've gone through some training, either additional skill training, but actually give them practical skills. Teach them if you're doing UX UI, how do you use Figma? If you're doing project management, how do you use Jira? Actual tools that the business are used. So, and that program, the technical program, came about after I think we watched a movie. It's a movie called The Big Short. And it's one also of my favorite movies, where they talk about this group of people who thought differently, who saw a crisis coming, and they were like, what can we learn from this crisis? And so, yeah, helping different kinds. Yeah, so those 2 are my favorite.
Thank you. Thank you so much, James. Over to you, Renis.
Hello everyone, my name is Renis Oguno. I am the founder and CEO of a makerspace called Code with Kids. Code with Kids is a STEM makerspace located in Kibera that offers STEM classes, that is science, technology, engineering, and maths, to kids from 4 years until 18. So growing up, I wanted to be a teacher. I love teachers because we are who we are because our teachers taught us well. So growing up, I wanted to be a teacher. My mom was a teacher. And along the way, I fell in love with computers. So unfortunately, I lost my mom when I was 15. And this made a switch in my life. I had to move from Embakasi to Kibera. And this shift was completely different. I used to go to the cybers back home, but in Kibera, this was a different story. Cybers were few, they had like really outdated computers, and they were male-dominated. They were not a safe space for a 15-year-old who had love for technology. So, as I was growing up in Kibera, I think when I grow up, I would want to create a space where girls can just come and explore technology without feeling judged. Because each and every time I went to a cyber, the women who saw me coming out of that cyber would judge me. The community would think I was some spoiled kid just hanging out around men. But for me, I was pursuing something I love. So fast forward, I grew up, I started code with girls, but I realized in Kibera, all the kids don't have access to technology. So I switched from code with girls to code with kids. And up to date, we've trained about 2,500 kids. That is in Nairobi, Kajiado, Turkana, and Kakuma refugee camp. Because when we started code with kids, when I started code with kids, it's to offer accessible and affordable STEM education. STEM is one of the most expensive extracurricular kids can sign up for. And currently, we've been doing much. We started by just doing coding. Currently, we're doing science. We're doing robotics and AI. Last year, we were the first Kenyans to be in China in the Enjoy AI competition. 19 of my learners, that is 9 girls and 10 boys, traveled to China to represent Kenya. The youngest was 6 years, and the oldest was 21. We were not really able to bag some trophies, but we were able to get different medals. We got best teamwork, team spirit, and we got the best organization award. And this was the largest robotics and AI competition in the world. They won the Guinness World Record, and we were there, regardless of where my learners came from. You know, when you hear Kibera, people just think it's just Mabati stuff. Students from Kibera, majority were from Kibera, 10 were from Kibera, and the others were from all over Kenya. We traveled and put the Kenyan flag at a global stage. Apart from coding, I really love playing chess. Because I think, like, if you really want to solve world problems, try playing chess. You get to learn different moves. My favorite movie is Queen of Katwe, and I love the series Queen's Gambit. They are all in Linus chess. Yeah. Thank you.
I'm already feeling overwhelmed with the brilliant minds that we have here, and it's taking me way back. During this, I think you just needed to do a mic drop and say you're done for this session and you don't need to share anymore, because that's quite an inspiration. So great job for that. And now to Grace, I hope you catch up what has just been said.
I hope to keep up, but allow me just first to start with my favorite movies. I'm not so much into movies, but rather books, but I watch anime. So, and my favorite is Utopia. So, I think it's just pushing boundaries, and she's quite reminded me about it. That's why I had to start with it. And all the other animes, like one and all that. So, when I'm listening to you, just to both of you, like, I was trying to figure out where are the jobs. My boss is here, and then the next week she asked me, Grace, where are the jobs? Where are we with the jobs? So, and I couldn't stop myself from thinking, even from the farming, you need the field agents, you need the people who market the produce and all that. It's traceability of the farmers, you need maybe the specific applications and maybe apps developers. On her end, again, there's a lot of tutorial opportunities, so these are jobs and I'll see them after this, definitely. But in a nutshell, what I do, so my name is Christine Mushiri. I am the project manager to a digital project within one of the implementing partners, who is the Kenya Private Sector Alliance. So Agora Digital is an initiative of the government. That's why I talked about Madam Mary being be with us here. And then it's with a strategic partnership of MasterCard Foundation and KESA and Immobilis are implementing partners. So Immobilis does the skilling bits, and that's why there was a lot of emphasis on the skilling of the talent pool. And then from Kenya Private Sector Alliance, we did demand stimulation or trying to get these sort of opportunities, both locally and internationally. So I can say it's been a very interesting journey, and given that I'll take myself back, I was a purely commercial marketer. And then I came to a social impact application, so you can imagine I was used to selling tangible things, and then here I'm trying to change, to sell behavior change, or trying to convince businesses on why they should create work opportunities for young people in Kenya. So it's been quite an interesting journey, but a lot of lessons, and opportunities are all over. It just takes a lot of convincing and patience to try and see what you can do. And it's the same concept that even innovation in tech can borrow. There are so many ideas out here that if well nurtured and if well nurtured can really blossom to a lot of good opportunities, both for the economy of the country and even for the individuals and for the many young people that are quite seeking work opportunities. And one interesting thing that happened early in the year, and maybe we'll come to speak about it when we're talking about the landscape of digital work, is that there are so many macro trends that are happening globally that are affecting even just the normal livelihood. And this comes from all this, the technology disruption, and we talk of climate change, we talk of the demographic shifts. We are seeing some countries with more older people, and then here in Africa we have the largest population being youth. But one big thing that I've come to learn, and it was through the World Economic Forum report that they shared the other day, is that all these challenges may look like a challenge, but yet, if you look at it keenly, they are creating way higher opportunities than we even have. And they were talking about when we are, like for instance, AI, maybe helping, or rather not helping, but reducing the work opportunities by 98 million, like we are replacing 98 million jobs globally, but at the same time, it's created over 178 million jobs. So you look at those statistics and you finally see this growth in the work opportunities, and that is giving us a lot of hopes and reminding us that even as we seek for work opportunities for young people, all we need is upskilling. And I think Madam Miri emphasized it a lot in terms of we need to keep encouraging the young people to keep on upskilling and looking for those opportunities. Instead, I can speak until the cows come home, but in a nutshell, that's what we do. Thank you.
I mean, don't get scared of getting the cows home. James will bring them home. All right, a round of applause for Grace. So Mary confirmed to us whether the cows are home. It's just, I know you already introduced yourself, but for the sake of our camera, for the second time, maybe you might have a different viewing panels.
Thank you very much. I think here, I think I'm the oldest. These are James, many of them. But of course, I'm Mary Kerema. I am a scientist by profession. Of course, I said I went to school long time ago and did my double mathematics. And of course, long then, there were no technology courses or degrees. It is mathematicians who are employed in technology jobs. So I think I landed myself in government in 1997, and I've been there to date. Of course, looking at now moving to other areas. But I think one thing I pride myself with is that I've grown in the technology space, and much has been self-initiative. And I think I can also pride myself with the technologies that have been embraced in government, that my hand is in it. Every system you get in government maybe must have been part of the designing. So I like designing. I design systems and coders go coding. So I can design for you a very good system. So I think currently, of course, I've transitioned in various ministries, but I'm currently now in the Ministry of ICT and heading the e-government and digital economy. And I think this is a higher calling because everybody is looking at you to give them solution and to really transform this economy using technology. Of course, I have expertise in various areas, and of course, the digital jobs are now under my docket. And we are looking at really creating harmony, standardizing issues to do with upskilling, skilling, and retooling. And at the same time, make sure you're not skilling and retooling for no jobs. So we want to make sure that we can map the people that we are skilling into jobs. Thank you. I think I like movies, but I don't have time to watch them. Maybe I've been given examples, maybe those ones are great time to watch. Thank you.
Wonderful. News nowadays is also a movie.
I can have time to watch.
No news. So I think one thing we should commend this panel. That's why I'm seated this way, because the gender balance that was done in this panel was well curated. Yeah, that's number one. Now, yeah, you see, round of applause. Very nice. Number two, now I think I'll be looking at every government system with a different lens. So I'll just be seeing Mary behind.
So there's an issue,
Exactly. So that time when I'm seeing there's a DOS, a denial of service, I know, hey, Mary, where are you to address this issue? So it's great, quite humbling, just to see from the farmer to the government being represented in this panel. But not leaving aside our two other gentlemen who will now also introduce themselves.
Yes, good afternoon. My name is Oliver Gasangwa, or Olivier Gasangwa. I'm the country manager of MPOST. I don't know if you guys have heard of MPOST, or you can call it Post and Economy. Mary, you might have heard of it.
Yes.
We'll talk after this. So, yes, so I come here representing our CEO, who is in Rwanda. He's in Rwanda obviously because we have now opened up an office in Rwanda with the same service. Post and Economy, or MPOST, is we're turning virtual phone numbers into virtual addresses. I think if you grew up in the 90s, very few people had access to the post office. You had the physical boxes that you had to pay for a subscription per year of, I think, 6,000 shillings, if I may say, and the whole family and friends and neighbors, cousins, all would use that physical box. You open that physical box, you have mail coming from all sorts of places to different people, and we decided to digitize it. How do you digitize it? Is turning your phone number into a virtual address. We've managed to do that in collaboration and in partnership with the post office. I think the post office is what validates our service, what validates our product, and we also benefit from their infrastructure. Whereby, if today I decide to upgrade the service of MPOST, I register. It's a web-based platform. You can Google it. MPOST is available on the website. Once I register and pay the subscription fee for the year, basically my phone number is what I use now to as my physical address. The post office and other delivery services, which enable us to deliver the products, the parcel, the courier to your doorstep. So I am also Rwandese, so I am helping with the expansion into Rwanda, which has gone very well. And we look forward to sharing more information with you guys. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I was tempted to just ask, from the panel or even from the audience, how many of you in your CVs you write PO box? Or do you nowadays only just write physical address? Google.
Thank you guys. Like Madam Mary said, maybe people are Gen Zs. I'm still on the tail end of that shared post office box. So freedom for me was getting my own post office. Like I'm not using my folks, like this comes to me, and then of course I know that goes on, and yeah, the part of the MPOST journey as well. Happy to see how large it grows. So Bokwa is a venture builder. Because many times when I meet people, they say, Bokwa, what do you do? I do many things. So I speak to you in context. I've been in the mobility space, so trying to build Kenya's largest EV only operator that serves the Nairobi metro area. I had my fair lessons in that. Try to transform the jobs so that they don't become a job of last resort. If I may speak to that for a second, in our market, someone says, I've been a driver for 25 years. It's paid my pension, it's helped me raise a family. Here, your makanga is there because hakuna kitu, and the next opportunity they get, they're out. We need to make these jobs have the, I don't know the term, it's not decency. Like they have a certain honor because they're service provision, and there's a huge out in terms of a life that you can actually build on it. We've always said, what's the difference between my driver and a KQ pilot? Can the salary may not match, but can it be, that's a still cheap in the air, it's a still cheap on the ground, but the sort of quality of service I'm able to get, whether you're on the road or in the plane, should be the same. As a venture builder, also work directly in the job space with the platform we're building with KCB, the TGIG platform. It's called Kazi Kasi. It's great to see what Joshua and team have done to extend on that. I put quite a few learnings on there. But the main one was, how can we drive the velocity of jobs in the local areas? Many times you look at rural to urban migration, and someone wants to leave Nyeri or Bungoma, Busia to come to the urban center to find jobs. Yet if we just drive the velocity of jobs within our local areas, then there's a lot more value to be attained, and hopefully I'll get to share some of the learnings across those. Thank you.
Wonderful. Our venture builder. Thank you so much, Bogo. So without further ado, I think I'll start with you, Grace. And I think you had something hinted to this. And it would be great just to appreciate the current landscape. What does it look like, especially for this tech for jobs or job opportunities that are created and economic opportunities through technology? And if you can just mention around what are some of these barriers that maybe you've also experienced that through a program that you run in CAPSA, and and how you've also tried to overcome some of these barriers.
Okay. So I had actually tried and painted the picture in terms of the major global sphere and how that is looking out for, out like. Now trickling it down to Kenya and maybe the region at large. Allow me first just to say that we have the advantage of a youthful population, which is also tech savvy, which now gives us a better leverage in terms of taking advantage of the opportunities that are out here. But more to it is there are a lot of changes and shifts that are happening in the entire, and I will speak from the market side, market facing, because now what the businesses are experiencing and all that. So there's a call for businesses to widen their scope. Gone are the days where you would just open a kiosk, let me call it that way, and expect walk-ins to come in and buy from your shop and not compete with the other even shop facing you directly. So we are also in a space where we're encouraging a lot of SMEs, startups, and MSMEs to think through digital transformation. And by that, they are also part of the great contributors to work opportunities. Contributors to work opportunities. Moving to the other tier, which is now the medium and large corporates, for them their main big issue and outlook at the moment is how do they compete globally, how do they access, how will they make their products even more different. And now with that, we have also been putting a lot of effort to share with them from our talent pool or emerging technologies from generative AI to data analytics, cybersec, and all that, and giving them those solutions to have a taste of what that would mean or translate to their innovativeness as organizations, and hence they widen the scope. Then there's also another category of global work opportunities, the international jobs, and with that is the heaviest lift has been to try and match our talents to the standards required globally, and that has called to a lot of collaborations and partnership, and through even the promotion by the government, where they will go and speak to the Silicon Valley, for instance, and speak to those opportunities and first tell them to look this side, and then now for us, we take it up and partner with different BPOs and different work aggregators to prepare the young people for the market opportunities. So we have stopped working the other way. We skill, then we look for opportunities, but rather look for those opportunities, then we try and prepare the young people for those opportunities. So in a nutshell, that's how it looks like at the moment, and that's where there's a lot of, there's one also aspect maybe I didn't speak about, which is now the innovators who are the entrepreneurs. Digital work, every digital work who is offering a digital work is an entrepreneur, because you have to manage yourself, you have to negotiate for opportunities, more opportunities, but there's specifically the building of now the entrepreneurs who are enablers. Like we've heard about Jipambe, which is one of the platforms. It's both an e-commerce platform and a labor platform. So those are the enterprises that have emerged, and there's a whole now ecosystem to try and push them up, and so that they can access both local opportunities and even global opportunities. So in a nutshell, that's how the landscape looks like.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that, and I'll now just jump to Renice, where with that landscape given, where we're talking about not waiting, not equipping or skilling, and then now looking for the opportunities, but getting the opportunities and then skilling. So with these opportunities through your organization and your interaction in the market, what are some of these skills that you can just give us some highlights that you have found very essential to equip the kids and even other ecosystem players that you have seen trying to equip the young people and people for tech jobs?
From my perspective, some of the skills that we've seen, which are useful or we've seen being put into practice, are design. So that is graphic design, 3D design. Majorly, we've now been seeing 3D design being used most. And also like web development, usability testing. You'll find clients who want people with that skill. They don't, it's not like a full-time job, but they want you to do a certain project. So 3D design, coding, that is web, app design, app development, and the one that I enjoy the most, it's easy to do and adds money, usability testing. Yeah, you get people to get developers who have developed apps, and they want to test it. So you bring it to the market and you do for them the usability testing, and you give them feedback, and they do the implementation again. So these are skills that really help you a lot, and also being able to do virtual assistance. These are skills that we've seen when COVID came in 2020. These were some of the skills that people are using to generate like money and create a livelihood out of it. Yeah.
Right. There's something I read in World Economic, is it PwC or World Economic Forum, with AI. Are there some skills that you've mentioned that you feel might be challenged or that may be taken up with AI? I know this is off the book, but what is your response in regards to that?
When AI came and most of the people are saying developers like coders are going to fall out of work because you can generate code from AI. It's one thing to generate the code from AI, and it's another thing to implement the code. You have to really have an understanding, you have to know the system structure. I can generate all the code I want, but putting it to become a project, that is where there's a problem. So I still feel like we still have a long way to go before AI replaces our jobs, but until then, we are here to stay.
Alright, let's see whether Mbugo, you're still safe with this AI. So, Mbugo, I want us now just to jump, because we have heard about the landscape, we have heard the skills that are needed, and these skills are in the gig work. And I would just want you to shed some light. I would want maybe to hear from your end. Do you still feel there is some critical infrastructure that is needed, especially for those people who are in the rural areas? I mean, you had the Jipamba. Yeah, I mean, they went to quite some areas in the outskirts of Nairobi. But I'm trying to imagine, can we have, pastoral aids in the rural areas being able to plug into such kind of platforms? And if they will be able to plug in, how then do you ensure that they don't get exploited, even as they plug in, as they participate in this gig economy?
A great question. I think, first thing, maybe you alluded to not saying artificial intelligence. What did you say?
Amplified
Intelligence. So, and to release exactly that, that uses these tools. AI is a tool that simply now amplifies you. Because one of the ways I've been able to utilize that and I've challenged a lot of my dev teams is that you have to almost think different and look at problems differently. There's a way you're schooled. There's a way I could look at your code and figure out, you code and I need. Because there's a way you're used to stuff. But when you get these tools that amplify, you're able to get that done different. Speaking to infrastructure and seeing what the team at Japan have done, I'd pick a use case from the work we did with LCB and Jadil. When you develop a platform, and at the very basic, you say, hey, we're going to make it into a PWA, progressive web app, because they've got feature phones, or they're smart enough devices. We are probably the 1% or the 5% in this room, with probably a device that could have sent the rocket to the moon. But for most people, they're starting off with starter devices. And it was interesting that when even if you done a service on a channel as simple as JSSD, in a focus group, someone says, hiki tuweke ifanye kazi, only to discover that they don't have airtime. Because to access a USSD session, you need at least a shilling. So when you talk about critical infrastructure, we also have to look at the element of cost. I remember government went around rolling out Wi-Fi. It would be great to get us statistics on what are people on, people Netflixing and chilling as in the marketplace, but were they really driving jobs. So looking at critical infrastructure, for me, one is connectivity. But for connectivity, you have to think about it differently so that it's sustainable. If I'm saying it's free Wi-Fi, who's meeting that to cost? You can bring all the liquid telecoms and ETC, the Safaricom's to plug in, but how are we driving that sustainability? Are we saying that on Japan the cost of with every order that comes, there's a line item, same way with tax, is infrastructure, because it supported free connectivity in a way. And one of the things that we know practice in the sector is that you could actually gate access, for example, to say that if you're on Jipanga or Kazikasi, then what it means is that your access to that platform has been zero rated. But for every job that you book on the app, a certain percentage goes towards ensuring the sustainability of this platform. So my take there is that we need to think differently about that infrastructure component. The other bit has already been sorted, and it's to get smartphones. We already have so many, and none of the providers did $14 million worth of business last year on Malipo Polepole. So you get a smart enough phone, that becomes your secretary. If you're getting your job through the phone, this is your SECI. If you're able to do your invoices, this is your office. So invest and get a phone of 15,000 shillings that you can pay over the course of 18 months. That's already been sorted. But now then the critical one is connectivity. And I'd like to challenge us to think differently about how we implement that. In a parallel industry that is not quite a passion point of mine because it does the opposite of create wealth, the gaming space, they've zero-rated those things. And they figured out a way of making them work on their side. So how about us who are trying to actually create real value? How can we then think differently about this business model? So even if it's from coming to me and say, hey, I need you to sponsor my data for the next year, so that how many people are we dealing with? So that the 20,000 people on my platform can get a taste of this thing and say, is it true or are you hoaxing me? As soon as you book the first job, you become a believer. And I say, for every 1,000 shillings you make, 10 will goes towards an infrastructure fund. The same we have some kind of like road tools that helps us then make sure that this infrastructure is sustainable and accessible for all.
So maybe just respond to the second part of the question of how then we still ensure that the people in the rural areas are still able. Remember, this person who was trying to go to the UCSD and it's only that they found themselves not having airtime. Then how do you still ensure that such people with this critical infrastructure that you're saying that needs to be sustainably put up or sustained throughout this process? How do we make sure that these people in the rural areas can be able to participate in these tech jobs or through technology without necessarily finding themselves being sidelined and or just getting the full value of participating in that?
So two ways to look at that challenge come opportunity. Is one, there's this Latin term, is it quid pro quo, something for something? As young people, even as government, we need to move away from the thought process of getting things for free. Lazima ujitume in a certain way. So for example, I've already said it's possible for you to get an advice that hasn't been slowly, but you could ask me, why do I get the very same money to then pay for it? At a basic level, it's about how do we design the services. We've seen this, the platform that I showed this was on mobile web. What if I don't have a device that supports that? At the basic level, we could decide that government, in collaboration with, say, the telcos, for which these telcos or these service providers pay annual license fees that are probably going to the tens of millions of dollars, can you have a code specific to empowerment opportunities that is zero-rated? The same way a bank would say, because you're banking with me and you're going to be taking loans from me, and I can figure out how to make money. Dear telcos, can the code *123# be free for anyone to set up a service that drives employment, that drives job opportunities discovery? So that I'm in Muranga, I could say, let me go to this service. It's Uganda, but it's offline, and because it is running off this unified code, right? First, the cost of access was democratized, the cost drops drastically, and when it's zero-rated, it has a straight line to revenue. You wouldn't come on this code to bet, you wouldn't come to this code to do your banking, you come to this code because you've been told there are job opportunities, you can register, and being on that platform to access those opportunities. If I get an alert, being able to quickly respond does not cost me anything. That would be the level field. Whether you're in Kilimani or whether you're in Kibera, this service is accessible to all, no discrimination at all, across all networks. That would be a fantastic starting point.
Maybe. I don't know whether we can come up with a deal
where we can involve the youths, come in. We've set up the Wi-Fi, charge a subsidized cost, because we've already subsidized connectivity to you. So charge a shilling or 5 shillings and sustain this Wi-Fi hotspot. Make sure it is powered, make sure it is maintained. Because government has not, we don't even have the human resource to do all that. And that is why you find that a very good project becomes a wet elephant because of the issues of sustainability. So I think it's a conversation we are having with private sector. And even for the example I gave about digital hubs, we've reached a point saying, are we really able to sustain this? Are we able to build digital hubs that can go to mashinani, to the last person, Mama Mboga, from her doorstep? Can she walk 100 meters and get a digital hub? And so we are thinking about re-engineering the way we are doing it. That can we create a fund where anybody interested can apply and we support them and they are able to sustain this digital hubs. Yeah, so for me, it's a possibility because we've already started having those conversations.
I'm really glad to hear that, and I would really want to hear, especially the USSD, because I know USSD is quite inexpensive, but again also reaches the masses. So just trying to see what kind of incentives these telcos can be given, so that they can either subsidize, those relays that you get from USSD that will cost you quite a bit, so that you can make sure that these opportunities, if it is the gig work, even people in the rural areas can still be able to access if they don't have internet connectivity.
I just had an idea. Olivier, what are some of the numbers? Like local, like in Kenya, how many people do you have registered? Because I think it's a pretty strong number.
We have right now active users, 350,000.
Registered users?
Yeah, registered active.
So what's the record? Yes, I know.
Registered, we were at about
800?
No, a bit more, 900,000.
900,000.
Yeah.
So it's 900,000 people who primarily access a solution or a tool via something. One of the other ventures I'm building out is in the advertising space. So imagine it's very easy for us to make that code free to access because every time you use it, because if I go to telco, I can get something called location intelligence that can help me now also connect businesses that are around these people to a service that makes sense to them, for which they're willing to pay probably more than the 1 shilling that you need to sustain this thing. So out of the box like that, you don't need to go on to the telco. Let the telco make their money. Let telcos make their money. Give value to an SME and give value to the young person who's looking for a job. So it's about, I call it solution architecture. Sit from the outside looking in, you say, okay, we're in a kitchen. All these ingredients, what's the recipe? What can we cook from what we have now, as opposed to always constantly asking or saying or thinking we need more? I think we have everything that we need to build the solutions we want and to scale them out in innovative ways.
So by any chance, are we venture building right now?
Yes,
it feels like it feels like. All right, so let's hear from James. And James, I will now want us, on our second last discussion, just jump into industry digitization. And I know you mentioned being in the art space, but I also just want you to maybe just, which are some of these other sectors that you are aware about, and even you can shed some more light even within the art space, and how you have seen opportunities for tech jobs that you have come across.
Okay, I think let me first start by saying there's a lot of opportunities out there. I think the jobs that people talk about, we've moved from a time or a period where people used to go and look for jobs to an era where people have come to a mindset or a realization where job creation is a much easier step. And I think that we've seen the growth of things like social media, for example. There's a lot of creatives. I always get so excited every time I pass by the CBD on Sunday, and there are so many photographers charging 100 shillings, 50 shillings to take your photo. You pass by the city, the bridge, and there's a photographer who's charging 100. And that's a young man who would have been otherwise somewhere seated, idling, but they created their own job. And I think, one, that's the mindset that I have started seeing as a shift in how young people are embracing And what that helps with is it allows young people to look at different industries. I remember I got the opportunity a few weeks back to attend the Innovate Summit, and Andrea, one of the co-founders of Reddit, was talking about how right now AI is the buzzword. It's the new thing. So yes, with it, technology, AI, I feel that science as an industry comes a lot of new opportunities. But when you look at AI from an African lens, the pace at which it is growing, or the pace at which tech from that perspective is growing, Africa is yet to catch up to that space or that level. Not necessarily because we don't have the skills, not necessarily because we don't have the human resource, the capital, if anything. We have one of the biggest, youngest growing populations ever who are the most creative. Just look at Twitter and how it's very hard to pick a fight with Africans on anything but social media. And partly it's because the level at which, for example, the West is innovating around AI is a different level compared to where I think Africa needs to innovate around AI. And what she touched on was something around looking at what industries matter to you now. And when you look at, for example, the industries that matter to Africa, agriculture is at the core of that. Aspects like health tech is at the core of that. Aspect like, for example, infrastructure, that's at the core of that, because you still have potholes, you still have a lot to automate in that process. And I feel like when you look at it now from that lens, then you start to look at, for example, how can I pick the lessons that are in the global space, apply them to my local industry, and get something out of it. And I'll give a good example. When we're doing our 1 million avocados project, initially, when you're inserting a new idea, there's this assumptions you have about how people interact with solutions. And since it was an agri-tech-focused solution, specifically for farmers, one of the things we found when we went to the ground is that forget even giving farmers apps. Farmers maybe don't even have smartphones. There could be somebody in the household with a smartphone, but their level of interaction with technology is not maybe as expansive as maybe people in Nairobi. And that does not mean they do not require or need the same services or access. So it made us rethink in terms of, okay, fine, this farmer may not understand what AI is, but you understand what AI is as a creative. Why not find a way to abstract that so that leave all the complexity away from the simple farmer? And for example, now what we're doing is very simple. It's the minute a farmer is onboarded, very simply just via SMS or via SSD, capture the basic data you need, add them onto a pipeline, that's on the technical side. So all the farmer does is just receive an SMS. Very simple. Every few days of, have you checked on your orchard today? These are some of the things you need to check. And to take it further, you localize it. Because again, farmers speak Swahili, they don't understand English. So yes, pale inamwambianga habari mbona leo niangalia avocado zako, hizi ndio vitu zinafaa kufanya leo. You still deliver the same technology, but you've abstracted all that from the farmer and you give them tangible value, and not what I call hype value, something that actually makes sense to them. And I think when we start looking at innovation from that perspective, and look at, for example, so that was agri-tech, for instance, and something really around that. When you look at, for example, health tech, how can you, for example, create as an industry? There are a lot of jobs in that space. How can people be able to use the same process, the way Google had mentioned, in architecturing that perspective or approach, and deliver similar services in that space in a very simple way that relates to the people on ground. So for example, if you look at something, a simple concept like mobile clinics, for example, if in each county there's the aspect of devolutionalizing health, if health is devolved, and even at county level it's even devolved further, there's opportunities for creation for jobs in that space. Even if it's, for example, in this area, there's a certain maybe group of people, how can we, and I always like WhatsApp, because I always feel like WhatsApp is where everybody is, find an easy way to coordinate people in small groups and find ways of devolving health to them, whether it's from an informational perspective, whether it's from information perspective. For example, hey, in this area in Muranga today, there will be these XYZ health clinics in this particular area, please go and visit. And have somebody who's savvy, very young, Ateki as their name, and pay him something small, 1,000 shillings, just to be coordinating and finding these opportunities and sharing them out. So you've created a job in a space where it touches the people on the ground, and at the same time, in a way that is very sustainable. Because, like Mary said, the government just provides the basic infrastructure, the foundation, so to speak. Then it's up to everyone in the private sector, us as innovators, us as people in the marketing space, to see how can we help either create the opportunities of filling the missing gaps, so that there's always somebody else who can pay for it. It doesn't have to be the end consumer of the product. You can always find a partner, you can always find a collaboration, you can always find somebody who needs that data, and they can be the financing aspect for that solution. So when you start looking at that, then you start saying these are different ways of creating jobs in different industries. And I think we are summarizing by saying the initial problem that I talked about finding jobs. And one of the things I started by saying is there are quite a number of jobs and opportunities, but when people go to present for these opportunities, either they do not have the skill, or they have the skill but it's unmatched to what the opportunity needs. And what was interesting is when we started our apprenticeship program, we started specifically to solve that problem. It was, how do you look for a tech job, and yet you have the knowledge, you've done your degree in computer science and information tech, but you don't know what exactly is being used in the market. You've not worked on an actual product that company A, industry A would be willing to pay for. So come for 3 months, let's take you through a very intense process where we show you this is how you design, this is how you architecture, this is how you create, this is how you project manage, this is how you front end, this is how you back end, this is how you secure the products, and then finally what you mentioned, quality assurance. How do you QA, how do you automate that? And what we found was, ran the cohort for, I think, the first cohort, and by the time the first cohort was ending, over 60% of the cohort trainees already had gotten jobs, not just offers, like they gotten jobs. And this is the same person who had gone through Moringa School, had gone through the training aspect of it, but what they lacked was that aspect. Because when you do an interview these days, it's no longer come with your papers, it's show me what you can do, come with your laptop, and that was the missing gap. And I feel like if we are also able to collaborate, partner, and find these opportunities, then we're able to have more sustainable impact.
Wonderful, wonderful. And maybe at this juncture, I want to excuse Google. It needs to attend to a quick emergency, which will also give me an opportunity to move closer as we now summarize. Thank you so much for your time.
We make your number into a virtual address, but without the post office, there is no MPOST. Without MPOST, there is no postal colony. So the collaborations are necessary. Government has to collaborate with the private sector and vice versa in order for us to create jobs, in order for us to create opportunities, in order to fulfill what the population or where there is demand for a service or a product. So we have to work hand in hand. We both need each other. We are an ecosystem. We can't survive without one another. Another instance where I thought of just right now is government can come in and create just like there is a housing levy, a fuel fund. Even the Ministry of ICT can create that. Tax, take a shilling or 0.1 shilling on every bundle that is bought, on tax the telco giants. The betting companies are making crazy money. I think you've seen Ronald Karuri driving his Maybach, his Range Rover. I don't think he made that kind of money in piloting. So if you take a certain percentage of that betting money and use it to sustain connectivity within the rural areas, or even within town, you know, you're talking about how is it sustainable. Using that kind of fund, you can sustain such things and create jobs. So it all comes down to us. What are we willing to do? Our mindset. Are we willing to change our mindset? I remember talking to some of my peers. I am not that old. I think I'm 38. And I was telling them, do we expect to make money the same way our parents made money? My dad made money from logistics. He started working for a parastatal, bought a truck, bought a second one, bought a third one. This was in the 80s. I came from university, nikaanza kufanya biashara na yeye. Nikafanya logistics, stress, but the money is not the same because the market has been saturated. I needed to change my mindset and venture into something else that is linked to today's world. Mambo logistics ni yao, wao walifanya logistics. So I needed to change my mindset and the way I was thinking. So I moved from Mombasa, I came to Nairobi, kaambia hii mambo yako ya magari na malori sitaki. Let me come and see what's out here. And that is what led me to MPOST today. And so if we change our mindset and the way we think, empower our youth to know what's going on currently, through government, through private partnerships, we shall be able to get a bit further than we were yesterday.
Wonderful, wonderful. It's a good feeling to think your age. Probably not very sure, but so that I hope one day I get to that part. Mary, you started us off, and I want you to close for us. Government starts and closes because again, you lay the foundation. And if you decide that there is no infrastructure, we might only wait for Elon Musk to come and salvage us with Starlink. So I would like now you to bring this conversation home. What are these policies that will help to encourage and promote for tech for jobs?
Thank you very much. I think for us really to promote the tech for jobs, one thing that we need to do as a country is to invest in skills, in education, in STEM, from the lowest level to the top. And the policies that we are bringing in is to bring the academia onto the table to discuss what are these policies that we need to put in place to anchor issues to do with training, curriculum, merging the curriculums to the industry. Because we can no longer continue the way we used to do things, where you give people certificates, graduation degrees, and you tell them go and do what pertains to the degree. When they get out, there's nothing that they can do as pertaining to that degree. So therefore, for us to be competitive and thrive in this tech economy, we are partnering to make sure that we have correct policies that support STEM education. The other one is we are looking at how to give incentives to startups, to industries, especially BPOs. Is it tax waivers? Is it a conducive environment? The ECZs and the PZZs. Is it that we need to push these people to a common environment? When we talk to them, they are saying, I wouldn't want to set a company next to my brother here. I would want to go and venture, as you said. Why should we really make people move to the urban areas to look for jobs? Allow me to set up my BPO wherever it is. Come and do your monitoring, evaluation, quality assurance. Have I met the requirements? Then you can you can set that as an EPZ zone or an EZZ. So we are doing this. We have made some strides, and I think this will bring in encouraging startups, industries that are really interested in digital jobs. The other policies that we are also putting in place is about research and development. A country will not grow if we will not incubate or put funds onto research and development. And of course, once you set up such an ecosystem, even innovators can come and incubate their solutions in this environment. The other thing that we are doing, of course, he has already talked about the PPP. We are also looking at our PPP regulations and policies. Yes, we put up policies and regulations, but most of the time, there is different innovation. You try to do something, you are told the law says, the policy says. So we are looking at these PPP regulations to make sure that it can really create a conducive environment for us to thrive as a country. The other areas of policy, of course, surrounds about policies to promote fair competition. As we go innovating, how can we ensure that there's fairness in whatever we are doing in the digital realm? The other thing we are doing is around data privacy, cyber security. We are really ensuring that, we want to ensure that as our citizens move online, are they protected? And we are looking at policies and also technology platforms which can empower the citizen. Really, like the commissioner, the Data Protection Commission doesn't have to really police who is using whose data and how you're using. Can we put systems in place that empower the citizen or the user to know who is accessing, so that I can give authorization for you to use my data or deny you access? And also, we are doing a lot around the digital jobs labor policy. We are also doing guidelines and regulations. We are also putting in guidelines and policies and partnerships in terms of digital jobs creation, where we also want to go beyond the industries and the innovators and have MOUs with countries. That yes, you have available digital jobs, but what is the agreement? Protecting our own, even as they go online, that can they get fair incomes. And also we are doing a lot with the tier 2s and tier 3s of BPOs, where we want to encourage them, and they are ready to set up in the rural areas, to the counties. And they want to utilize the digital hubs for them to do the skilling, and now they can build their offices where they can now avail the jobs for these young people. And lastly, it's about putting policies to ensure sustainability and make sure that there's continuity, there's continuous improvement in whatever that we are doing. And of course, I want to touch on issues to do with collaboration. Yes, we talk about collaboration, but I want to really ensure or have an environment where government, private sector, development partners can have an environment where we can have a dialogue. Because I believe government cannot do it alone. The industry, they are out there, the private sector, they know what skills, what strategies we need to put in place, and therefore open dialogues and collaboration with the private sector, with government, with development partners, and even the civil societies and the communities, because they are the ones who know where it wins. You know, sometimes we sit here and we really are busy developing things for them, and when we take to them, they ask, who told you I did it? So collaboration has come to a time where we have to really work together as a team. and bring everybody onto the table and have a discussion. Of course, issues to do with the sharing of resources, we don't need to reinvent the wheel. If he has done this solution, can we scale it up? Why should I sit as government to develop this? So really utilizing and sharing resources and having an environment where we can even scale up. And somebody says that, can we even utilize what we have? Maybe so much has been put there, it's only that we have no coherence in the way we are doing things. Everybody is doing maybe duplicated things in their own small way, but it's a high time that we break these walls, silo walls, so that we can work together and share what we have and scale them. And I believe with these collaborations, we'll have too much to even meet the demands, both locally and globally.
Wow. 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 You know, they say in our tradition, when government speaks, you can't comment further because they close it. And all the call to actions have been done. And as I promised our audience, that you shall have an opportunity to ask questions. And I'm very fortunate to have very active audience who have been listening to. And it will be very encouraging for the panelists also to just know that some of the insights that they have shared. So I'll give you the opportunity to introduce yourself, and then you can shoot your questions.
My name is Mariana Momary. I am an innovator and a strategic communication specialist. I have a speech disability, and that's why I am using my text-to-speech app. For the digital economy to be accessible, it needs to cater for the needs of all youth. Even the most basic service like eCitizen is not accessible. Even some of the trainings don't include sign language interpreters or easy-read content. Assuming from the audience we say, 1 in every 4 of your audience has a disability, a lot of us are left behind. A couple of the panelists, if not all, have mentioned accessibility. As designers, innovators, and government, when designing, training, or making policies, do you factor in the needs of persons with different disabilities at the very initial stage?
Wonderful.
I think that's, first of all, thank you so much. That's a very good question. I think let me start by saying the short answer is no. I think by default, interestingly, is a lot of the industries and a lot of the market players do not really take accessibility as one of the major or key considerations when they're innovating. And I feel like on the flip side, not exactly saying the short answer. The long answer is, I feel that more can be done, but it starts with what you mentioned. How do you design it from the ground up with disability in mind? And a good example is, for example, with the tech that you just used, the text-to-speech translator. That is a very good example of how technology itself was used to actually allow you to be able to easily communicate that great opinion in question in a scenario where you would not have otherwise have been able to. So there was somebody who built that tech. So when Grace was asking where are the jobs, there are so many people graduating as tech developers, for example, software development, because the reason for that was that's the space that I'm in. And if you can be able to get 100 of them, tell them, hey, is this technical program? You talked about government-private partnership. We have an implementation partner who will teach you how to create the product, and your focus is just building solutions around accessibility. In 3 months, you will make eCitizen accessible for people with disabilities. From speech perspective, from phone perspective, and I feel like a diverse is a really good solution. And like May said, it's that collaboration where how do you get what you need? You've gotten the problem, How do you get somebody who can help implement this? How can we get the resources to make this happen? And then very intentionally be able to execute and make it happen. So I think, yeah, that's a challenge to back to government and back to us. Because me, when I go back to my program team, I will tell them, hey, there's something we can actually motivate and consider that has a lot of opportunity and is very needful for the kind of economy of inclusivity that we are trying to build for the whole world and Kenya as well.
Thank you. Renis?
My answer is similar to is no. But currently we've been trying to see how best we can bring, like how best our sessions can be inclusive for all. We've tried working with deaf kids, and what we did is we had a translator come in, a sign language interpreter come in and interpret, but we got to realize that if this sign language interpreter is not tech savvy, there's translation being lost in between. So yeah, that is something we're still looking into, and I appreciate that question. Thank you.
On our end, I think there's some hope. We are somewhere at the very design of the project. Maybe it wasn't really much involved, but along the ways we've realized the benefit and the importance. And at the moment, as we speak, we have a 5% target that we have to fulfill at any reporting, given reporting. We are still ranging 3%. But we are doing a lot of things that we are learning. We are learning along the way and trying to implement a lot of things. One biggest thing, there's a time we were trying to get jobs on data labeling and data annotation. And one very categorical thing an employer put across is the only persons with disability that we can onboard is maybe physically challenged, but maybe visually impaired and the hearing impairment cannot fit for this job. It was so saddening because now it left me thinking, if that's not an opportunity for that category, then where do we get the jobs for also that category? So we are also doing, as KEPSA, we're doing a lot of sensitization. We've been holding several sensitizations to businesses. First, to embrace it because it's a behavior change, so they need to first appreciate it and see the need, and also look at persons with disability as not as a liability, but as very great assets. We have very big talents who are visually impaired, but those people can really code and do great jobs because they have even a higher affinity on that. So we are trying to also speak to businesses to embrace this. So they sample.
Nice. Olivia, then finally, maybe.
I think keep challenging us, keep reminding us. Like majority of us have said, we forget to include PWDs in any innovation that we take on. And so thank you for reminding us, thank you for challenging us. Yes, just keep reminding us, and we shall do our best to make sure that whenever we uptake an innovation, it is we have inclusivity so that the service is adaptable to all. All right, but unfortunately, no, MPOST has not been inclusive. Not that I'm the one who created it, and I'm not even going to stand up for them, but yes, keep reminding us, keep challenging us so we can do so. Thank you.
I think thanks for the question. I think we are coming from an era where we moved very fast in whatever we are doing and assumed that everybody is at the same capability. Look at even buildings. It is just a few years back that the PWT organization said that even buildings are not accessible. the PWDs, and that is when government put in a policy that when you are putting up a building, you need to put a lamp for the physically challenged. But also in technology, we also went very fast, developed systems, websites, as you've had, and the issue of PWD never crossed our mind. Until now, this advocacy about making sure that as we go online, let's ensure we don't leave anyone behind. And I think I had a point on inclusivity, that even as we are moving to we are talking about digital jobs, digital skilling, we need to ensure that there is inclusivity. And that's why we even talked about connectivity, even to the rural areas, so that nobody is left behind. So government came to a realization that we have moved too fast and forgot others behind. And you'll find that in websites we've partnered with development partners. We are currently doing inclusivity into websites with the British country, and there is a funder called FCDO. They are the ones who have given us the tools to make sure that we can make our websites PWD accessible. We also did the e-citizen, not all the aspects, and not catering for all disabilities. But be rest assured, as the others have said, it is a awakening call that we need to make sure that we cater for the PWDs, and I think in the next few years, that will really be something of the past. And government is in the forefront of ensuring that we don't leave anybody behind, and that it will be inclusivity by design.
In my heart, I was about to verbalize the word amen, because it felt like it may happen in those few years that you've mentioned. I know we have gone into, these conversations can really get, we can really get into them. However, I would like us to maybe bring our session to an end. And it has been a great pleasure hearing from James, Renice, Grace, Mary, and Olivier, and people who left due to foreseen circumstances and emergencies that they had to attend to. It has been great hosting you, panelists. I'm very humbled, even with the knowledge and things that you speak. They have been humbling and also enlightening to me, and hope that I'll be able to go also share in the spheres and spaces of influence that I'm in. So it's been a great pleasure, and I hope to interact with you again. And for anyone else who had a question, please feel free to engage with the panelists after this. And I would want to wish you a rest of a fruitful Innovate Kenya Summit 2025. Thank you so much, and God bless. Thank you.